Hey!
Hey.
Here we are in our brand new studio.
Yes.
We have a new spot to record it and we are super stoked about it. We've had some success finding some really cool places lately. In this video, we're going to explain how to find your very own fossil honey hole. Basically your own place
Like
that
a
you've
hotspot.
found or scouted where
Yep.
you can go and find things on your own that isn't full of other people. Our last video was in Collin County. We found that place on our own doing exactly what we're about to teach you. So hopefully you're excited about this video because we're excited about it, and we're going to give you some good pointers. And by the time you're done watching this, you should be able to go out and find your own place basically anywhere.
That's right.
One of my favorite things to use when I'm either out in the field or just at home doing research is an app called Rocked.
Yep.
It is spelled R-O-C-K-D.
I believe that it's on the iTunes store, and it's also in the Android Play Store.
Yes, I love it. It's super simple. It's easy for people who don't want to have to click on a whole bunch of things to get to what you're looking for. You can pull it up when you are on a specific site and you're wondering what is the formation here. It'll tell you the formation, what it looks like, the color of it, the consistency of it, what kind of fossils can be found in the area.
So we throw the term around a lot, formations, and you might not be familiar with what that means. Basically, the bedrock material under the ground in the area where you are or where you're going to be looking. A lot of these formations have different compositions. Some are mainly clay, some are sand, some are limestone, and some are more fossiliferous than others. And all these formations that make up the Earth's crust, they move around, and some of them are flat, some are vertical, some are at diagonals. Some of them even get stacked on top of each other in the reverse order that they were created, which can also throw you off when you're out looking because you're looking at time scale in reverse. But it's really important to kind of get familiar with the formations in the area where you hunt, and also to know the age of those formations. For example, in the North Sulphur River where we hunt, the majority of it is Ozan, but there's also Wolf City sand. There's
Pecan Gap chalk.
all sorts of different formations that kind of converge at that one spot. That's part of the reason why we find Pleistocene fossils, we find Cretaceous fossils, all sorts of different time periods.
So that would be why you can find dinosaurs in certain areas and you find marine fossils in other areas. Because every single formation is representing a different time period in history.
Where we are here in North Texas, for example, was covered by the Western Interior Seaway for millions of years, and that's part of the reason why most of the fossils we find here are marine fossils. Marine reptiles, mollusks, bivalves, shells, coral, things like that. But then later on, obviously, when the waters froze back into the ice caps, during the Ice Age, we find a lot of Pleistocene material like Columbian mammoth, mastodon, things like that.
Another really helpful tool that everyone already knows how to use is Google Maps.
Yeah.
We love using it. It's easy. You can look at the different maps that they have available. You can pop into Street View, which I really like because it gives you a first-hand look at the actual area you're looking at. You can just drop a pin. You can go click on that pin. It'll open up Street View. You can look around at all angles. You can go down the street a little bit if you're trying to scout somewhere to park at or wondering, can I even park here?
Yeah.
Is there barbed wire? Is this an obvious private property? Or can I just jump down in here and look right now?
Yeah, Google Maps is really an underestimated tool. It's very helpful. One of the things that I like to use it for is a satellite view. You can just turn off the layers. You can go from map view to satellite view pretty quickly, and you can see creeks. Sometimes, depending on the time of day the pictures were taken, you can actually see shadows that indicate like cliffs and higher elevations,
That's
things
right.
like that.
That's really important.
It's very easy to see like erosion and things like that from their satellite views.
Back to what you were just talking about, being able to see the erosion levels, that is so important when you're trying to scout fossils. You want some place where the formation is exposed. You don't want a lot of topsoil and the newer soil on top.
Right.
So looking at those kind of maps is so helpful. The next app I want to talk about, I'm going to hand over to Johnny here because he actually is the one that told me about it.
Yeah, so this is called OnX. I'm sure that a lot of people have heard about it. It's an app that just to really be on the safe side and make sure that you're not crossing over some invisible boundary onto someone's land.
Right.
And doing something that you're not really supposed to. And it also helps you when you're out, put your mind at ease so you don't feel like you're looking over your shoulder, wondering, should I be here or not? Am I going to get in trouble? That kind of thing. Another really helpful source of information is txpub.usgs.gov/TX Geology. It's your fossil hunting map. I'm not saying that you have to be a scientist to know what the chemical mineral makeup is of the formations, but you kind of need to know what formations are fossiliferous and which ones aren't, so that you don't go spending a lot of time and gas and money driving around in the areas where you're very unlikely to find anything.
I like that it's a lot more detailed than the Rocked app is. Even though Rocked is really simple to use and quick when you're out somewhere, this USGS is definitely a much more detailed geological map, so that I like about it.
Yeah, it gives you the age of the formation, and what's really cool is it gives you a physical description of what the material there looks like. When you're driving around and you see a big construction site or land development, you see a lot of exposed ground material, you kind of know, hey, that's just plain dirt, or hey, that's exposed material, because you've studied those kinds of things.
Another piece of useful information is the many websites that are out there. One of our personal favorites is
NorthTexasFossils.com, and that's just local to our area, North Texas, obviously. But what's great about it is it ties in with the Rocked app that we were talking about earlier, and it also ties in with the geology maps, because you can go on websites such as this and you can look up those formations around you, and you can actually get a list of all the different types of fossils that you can find in those areas. You can see photos of examples of fossils that other people have found near you. You can find a whole wealth of information in terms of the formations, the material, the fossils that are there, the age. And we use that a lot to help see what it is in that formation, so that before we go, we kind of have an idea of what it is we're looking for.
one important tool that we like to use all the time when we are hunting on rivers or creeks is water.weather.gov.
And this is a nationwide site, so any state in the 48 United States that you're in, you can use this site. And it has most of the major creeks and rivers in it. What's really great is it'll show you a level reading, pretty much updated every hour, every couple hours, depending on the location. And it'll tell you what the water depth is. So for an example, like the North Sulphur River, that particular river is very straight. It's very wide. So when it rains a lot, the water rises very quickly. It can go from 1 foot deep to 15 foot deep in just a couple hours.
That brings another important point. Always have an exit. Always have an exit,
Yes.
because the water can rise faster than
never
you
underestimate.
believe. The last app or computer related source that we like to use is Facebook or Instagram.
Obviously.
Yeah, finding groups related to areas you like to hunt at is a good way to do two things. You can find the different fossils that you know are readily available in your area. You can learn about places to go fossil hunting, and you can learn a lot from other fellow fossil hunters.
That's right.
Networking and meeting other people who will teach you how to find things, where to go, their methods at doing that, videos,
Advice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next to last source of education that we think is really important is getting together in groups of like-minded people. And it's really funny because you'll go out sometimes even on field trips and you start to realize you're not the only crazy person that likes to get out and stare at the ground for several hours. Yeah. One of the groups that's local to us is the Dallas Paleontological Society. They do field trips all over, once a month, twice a month. They have a website where you can go and look at the field trips that are up and coming and register for those. So just check it out on the internet. Google fossil clubs or fossil organizations near me and see what there is out there.
The last part we wanted to share with you in our education section is books.
Books. Everybody
So
loves
we were
books.
just talking about the Dallas Paleontological Society.
Yep.
Which is, you know, one of our favorite groups and all.
Yep.
But our favorite is this book right here. It is a fossil collector's guidebook to the North Sulphur River. We have touched on this before
Yep.
in our access points guide.
Yep.
Because there's plenty of information in here
Specific to that river.
to the specific river and our area, which tell you different fossils that can be found, but you know, even not just specific to the North Sulphur River. It has good information about formations in here that is helpful for anybody.
Right. There's lots of books that you can go, even just to your library or Amazon or wherever it is. Like Fossil Collector's Handbook gives you a lot of advice for identifying finds,
Yeah, like there's an
prepping
echinoid.
finds, displaying finds, where to look, what to look for, how fossils are created, like everything that you could ever think of as far as where to go, what to look for is in these books. So it's an old school method. It's not the internet, but it's still a great resource to go into.
Yeah, this other one that we really like is the World Encyclopedia of Fossils and Fossil Collecting.
Yep.
It's pretty broad, but in all honesty, there is a lot of information in here that can go for anywhere that you live. You might be watching this and you're not even in Texas.
Right.
So, good information. So that about sums it up for how to find your very own fossil honeyhole spot.
Yep, and so if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to go and check out our fossil hunting gear guide. We did a gear guide that's specifically for the North Sulphur River, but that's actually pretty applicable for just about anywhere in the area that we live. Probably pretty similar to the area where you live as well. We go through and teach you what to bring, what not to bring, things like that. So we had a really good time making this episode, and we hope that you found it informative. If you watched all the way to the end here, thank you. We really like making these videos for everybody and hopefully giving you a little bit of education and advice on what to do. If you enjoyed it, just go ahead and consider subscribing to our channel. That helps us out a lot. We're really trying to grow this channel and put the best content we can out there for everybody. We know that there's a lot of interest in North Texas in the fossil hunting community, and we just want to do the best that we can to put out good content for you guys. Across the United States, there's all different regulations. And what are you doing? You just really want to.
I really can I?
I mean,
Da, 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 da.
fit really well in our how to look piece of that.
Are you ready?
Stay. No, shh.
Right. You may not be familiar with
It's
what
not
a
working, Barbara. Lay down.
No.
Lay down.
No.
Oh.
Ah! There it is. That's it. Moved it back. Ready?
Go, go. She's knocking over microphones.
There's going to be a roaring triceratops.
I think we did good.